Jamie, thanks for coming back.
I can't believe you invited me back. But you're welcome. Thank you for having me back.
So last time we were talking about varietals, and now we're going to bring it to closer to home. So Pacific Northwest, what are we known for here? Which varietal?
Yeah, so Pinot Noir is what we're really known for. And the Oregon Pinot is fantastic. And I'll go a little bit deep on you. So George Riedel Glassware, famous glassmaker from France. He came here and created a glass strictly for Oregon Pinot because he was so in love with the style and the flavor of the Pinot Noir. So they created the tulip or
I was going to say, was this the tulip glass we were talking about the other day?
Okay. Oh, the rose petal.
Yeah.
Simply, when you sip the wine, and let me back up. Red wine, when you drink it, is supposed to hit the tip of your tongue, the sides of your cheek, and the back of your throat. When you drink red, white is the tip of your tongue and the back of your throat, and the glasses are designed just for that. So when you tip the wine back, there's a little rim on the glass that splashes it on the inside of your mouth. And the Pinot Noir is so floral and it has earth to it, and we call it forest floor. That's what we call it. That you taste that forest floor. It's great for Oregon. Mushroom forest floor. And it just brings out all that flavors and just dances on your palate and you taste it. It's absolutely fantastic. But with that being said, we're also really known for Chardonnay.
Yeah.
So in the years past, so I've been on the West Coast now 9 years. In that time, I've seen Oregon Chardonnay go from non-drinkable to winning all kinds of awards. And a lot of it has to do with we're getting warmer climates here. And Oregon has the strictest laws for making wine in the U.S.
Oh.
The strictest laws. So it has to be 100% Oregon. It has to be 95% appellated and 95% varietal. And let me back that up. Appellated means if it says Willamette Valley on the bottle, it has to come from the Willamette Valley. Or if it says Applegate, it has to come from Applegate, at least 95%. And then varietal is the actual varietal, which we talked about in the previous podcast, which is the Pinot Grigio, Pinot Noir, and so on and so on. So with those really strict regulations, they make really great wine and they do things right. So Chardonnay follows those Oregon rules. In California, our friends down south, it's getting so warm, they're having to make so many adjustments and add so many grapes in there and use a lot of water and use a lot of oak that their flavors are kind of escaping. And Oregon Chardonnay is turning into what California used to be. So we're getting that very French, we call it Burgundian style. Okay. So the Burgundy wines are known for Chardonnay and Pinot Noir. Very beautiful, expensive wines coming from France. Or if you take and draw a line from France to Oregon, from Burgundy to Oregon, it's the exact same line. Same sun, same rain, same weather pattern, all the same. Wow. The only difference is their soil's a little bit older.
Okay.
And they also get their rain in August. We get ours in October. But with that being said, we can grow all the great varietals they do. However, we're very fortunate here where they're not so much. We can go out to the Rocks District in Walla Walla.
Yeah.
So Walla Walla is also an AVA. You should go there. It's amazing.
No, it's on the list.
You should go there because Walla Walla is the town. It's also an AVA, which we talked about as a viticulture area or a farm zone. And it goes to both sides. It's funny, when you get into the Washington side, it's all beautiful soil. When you go to Oregon, Milton Freewater, it's all rocks. So the soil's got big rocks in there. So the grapes that come out of there have a really awesome mineral spice. I'm going to say this because it's going to make sense to me, but it has this funk on it that's just really happy. We call the wines getting funky. It's a happy funk. And then if you roll in a little bit deeper towards the gorge, back to the west, you get the Columbia Valley does the same. Stretches both sides, and you get that in the Fruit Loop area. You get that higher elevation, also super rocky, a little bit more mineral based wines come out of there. And then you go all the way down to Southern Oregon to the Applegate and the Umpqua. You get not so much rock, a little bit raw rock, but you get more of a sandy soil. So you get very loose draining soil, which gives you big, bold, juicy grapes like Cabernet, Tempranillo, Syrah, Viognier, all those really great varietals I can grow here. Now, they can grow those in other countries, but it's there's not as much opportunity. We got it here. So Oregon's where it's at. The juice coming out of here is just amazing. I say that with complete passion, right? I came from a Pinot house and we love our Pinots, but we also love other funky varietals that can happen out here. So. And people come here for Pinot Noir.
Yeah, I know they do. I'm surprised the Chardonnay. I knew that it was better than when I think
years past.
I was growing up, and I remember like
spitting it out.
Yeah,
You're like, oh, I need to clean the toilet. Yeah. That's not
So
anymore.
those two, and then is there a third that?
Yep, Pinot Grigio. Well, we call it Pinot Gris. Okay. So Grigio and Gris is a Latin word for gray. Oh, so okay. Gris is a French term for gray, and the Pinot is a French term for pine cone. So the grapes grow in a pine cone formation. That's where Pinot Noir comes from, Pinot Gris. In Italy, they call it Grigio, which is the Italian word for gray. So the grapes have a gray hue to them on the vines, even though they're magenta, but when they ripen out, they're a little gray. So they grow in that pine cone formation. So Pinot Gris grows really well here. We're not far from the Alsace region of France. If you on that line, it's just a couple of kilometers down, and they grow a lot of Pinot Gris out there. So we get all that varietal and Riesling. We can do a lot of Riesling here. It just does. It's pretty hardy. It does really well. A lot of people put Riesling in as like a starter grape to get the soil fertilized, and they yank it, put Chardonnay and Pinot Noir in because it grows so quickly.
Interesting.
Yeah, it gets the soil happy, right? You get all that nutrients in there. Okay. A lot of times when they're growing grapes here, because our growing season is so short in the Pacific Northwest, they actually go through towards harvest, and every third grape cluster, they drop it. It's called dropping fruit. They cut it and just let it hit on the ground. Because our growing season is so short, if you don't, none of the grapes will actually ripen out because it's taken all its energy and trying to put it to create the grapes happy. Yeah. So with all that fruit on there, it's starving. Yeah. Because Oregon did dry farms. We don't use any water here. We get 55 inches of rain in the winter. You think we need to add water to anything? Yeah, right. It's in the soil. Yeah. So, anyways, that's all kind of a long story about Oregon Pinot. Yeah, and that kind of leads into why Oregon Pinots are kind of the way they are price-wise, right? Yeah. And to kind of scientifically or break it down, when you take a look at the cost of a Pinot Noir, they're typically $20 and higher. Well, and if you take a look at Cab, they can be as low as $7 or $8. And it's for a simple reason. We drop fruit. So a typical winery in California or even Southern Oregon will get about 8 to 9 tons per acre. That means of actual fruit that they cut off and process and make wine with. In Oregon, in the valley, for Pinot Noir, they get 1.5 tons. Significant less. So they're not getting nearly the same amount of fruit. And a ton of acre gets them 92 gallons of wine. So if you think about 1.5 tons versus 9 tons, there's not as much being produced. Most of these Oregon wineries are doing about 100,000 cases to 150,000 cases. These big California wineries are doing 3-4 million cases of wine. So that's why there's such a variance in there. But the wine quality is stunning. Yeah. All right, let's get some wine. Let's get some Pinot Noir.
Someday we'll have to
have some road trip.
So explain to me kind of the difference in value between like a $15 cab and a $50 cab.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that come into that play, right? A lot of it is the winery.
Can both taste pretty much the same?
Sometimes? They can. There's been many times where I've had a $10 wine versus a $50, and I'm like, I don't see the difference, right? A lot of it is the pedigree of the name of the winery that's making it, right? And there's a lot that goes into it. Are they organic? Are they B Corp certified? Are they doing special things to make the wine sustainably friendly for everyone? A lot of wineries have started using what they call B Corp certified, DM corks, which are 100% recycled corks. Oh. They're great because they don't cut down any trees in the Amazon forest to get to the cork trees. The downside is there's a lot of energy and waste that goes into them. They grab the corks, they clean them, they shred them, they recycle them, they replug them. It takes a lot of energy and a lot of time, but we are saving the forest, which is a better thing. Yeah. But they're more expensive. Typically, a cork is about 10 cents a piece. These DM corks are up to $2 a piece. Oh. So all that adds into it, and also glass, right? So to get to the root of it, if you're a big winery and you're producing a lot of wine, you're buying glass in bulk. You're getting a good deal. Sure. If you're a small winery and you're only producing 1,000 cases, you're not buying your glass in bulk, so your glass prices are higher. So sometimes it's just simple cost of goods that can raise the price. And sometimes it's the winery name, and sometimes it's the location. Like if you go down to Napa's typically got some expensive wines. Yeah. An acre of land is almost $1 million out there. And they're also, if you take a look at some of these higher places like Howell Mountain and Mount Veeder, these wineries are producing 30 to 40 cases, and that's it. And they're selling for big money. So there's a lot that actually rolls into that. There's no real right answer. A lot of it is what you like. Yeah. Right? My suggestion is open the cheap stuff, finish with the good stuff, right? And if you got friends that you don't really like, give them the cheap shit. If you got friends that you love, give them the good stuff, and make sure you have a nice bottle of, not something really fun to cook with. So
Yeah.
I really think a lot of it is in the eyes of the beholder. I think people get a little sticker shocked when they see wines, but look, if you want that $50 bottle of wine, do it. Just make sure it's something special.
Exactly.
Right?
And we could go down, we'll probably have a whole episode on this, but cork versus screw top.
Stelvin versus cork. So it's called the Stelvin enclosure.
Okay.
It's what they call it. And then that was produced because in a few years ago, this is probably 10, 12, maybe a little bit longer, there was a problem with cork. So cork is porous.
Mm-hmm.
So when they cut down, and we could probably have a whole session just on how they make cork, but they cut the bark off the tree and they literally push the plugs or corks out through what they call virgin wood. It's nothing that's been processed. And they had a problem with you get like a wet cardboard flavor on the wine.
Okay.
And that was because the corks were breathing.
Okay.
So what happens is the oxygen and wine are not friends until the end.
Mm-hmm.
When you pop the cork, kind of let the wine breathe a little bit, let the air get in there. This is going to sound really odd, but it gets a really nice funky mold on it. Not a bad mold, just like a flavor mold, right? And you want that in your wine, but if you got a wine sitting on a shelf and it's doing that for months, you got a bad bottle of wine.
Yeah.
The wine starts to go through double fermentation or starts to try to recreate itself. Because when you make wine, you have sugar and yeast and you put it with the grapes and the sugar and yeast fight each other and start a war and it gets all angry and it's a long process, but it turns into an alcohol because it boils itself and it starts to do that in the bottle. So because we had a really bad run at cork, and I think a lot of it had to do that wine got so popular, they couldn't produce cork fast enough. When they cut bark off a tree, the tree has to be a minimum 75 years old before they can do it, and they can have to wait another 25 years for the bark to regrow, and you can only do it 4 times. Then you got to cut down the tree. So the trees take a long time before you can actually harvest them. So I think they were at a point where they were just using faulty cork. So someone came up and designed a Stelvin enclosure, which was a screw cap.
Okay.
We got a lot of it coming out of New Zealand like right away, right? Because the markets that are hard to get cork or, the cost wise producing fast amounts of product, they want Stelvin, and they're still popular today. Yeah. People use them. There's nothing wrong with Stelvin cork.
You're okay with it?
I'm okay with it. Yeah. I've drank some high-end wines that are in Stelvin enclosure and the bartenders love them. I mean, after the 4th bottle, I love them because I am not messing with a corkscrew or wine key. I meant second. Yeah. I look, it's, you can't look at something and back in the day, it was like, oh, if it has a screw cap, the wine's garbage. Those days are gone.
Right. Okay.
Those days are way over.
Okay. Well, my final question for you today is kind of getting in the mindset of our, I guess, beer and wine sellers out there, our teammates that are selling. Are there any tips on how to kind of upsell a higher end bottle of wine? Whether they're selling it into an account or obviously we're not selling direct to consumer, but
there's always a way, right? And I find when I talk with customers about wine, I kind of tease them a little bit with some things, some fun facts, and see if they perk up. But, having that conversation and explaining the story of the wine, having the backstory of where the wine started, because it's not just like beer or anything else. It has a backstory where it started from, right? Wine is a little bit more intense. It's just like beer. There's a lot to it. So I think telling the story and getting into it and having those conversations and talking about the recycled cork and talking about the specialty recycled glass and all those fun things are just great levers to pull to sell them to the next step because people resonate with that, right? Yeah. I mean, you always want to do the right thing for the right product, right? If somebody's doing something the right way, you want to be part of it. And I think that's the easiest level we have, right? Because price is always going to be a factor, but if you get them wowed, it's no longer a factor anymore, right?
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I can't afford a Ferrari, but I would buy one if I could, right? Even though I don't need it. So, it's just getting them to be there and people bite.
Okay, great.
Yeah. You like high-end wine, right?
I mean, yes, of course. Yes. But I think I also like the $15 bottle of wine and the $10 bottle of wine. Yep. I mean, there's some great deals out there. And wonderful product.
So, a great tip that I like to do, I do at home, is I put a red dot on the wines that I shouldn't drink after I've had 1 bottle of wine or 2 bottles of wine. If I have friends over, it means stop. So it's a really good thing. It's good to have both.
Yeah.
I think it's very important to have a great mix of everything. Everyday wines, every day ends in a Y, and you should drink a wine every day that ends in Y. But certain wines require certain wines require certain things. So, yeah. 100%.
All right, Jamie. Well, thank you. We're
Thank
gonna
you.
come up with some more questions for you and bring you back in a couple of weeks.
Stop the cork dog, right? Get your questions. Bring them on.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you.